Hi, everybody. This is a Wee Bit of Alchemy. I'm Rick Barrett. Welcome. Lately, I've been talking a lot about self-training Song and Jin. Song is discussed as relaxing your muscular tension so that you can learn to trust the intrinsic structure of your body to do the work for you. And then Jin is your expression of energy through your body, directed by consciousness. So, and at the risk of going over something which has been covered many times, people have been with me for years, know that I've been talking about this, and was the subject of the major part of the first book, finding Tai Chi through the Western Gate. But I want to take it out of the intellectual quality there and really take it down into more of a felt sense, because there is a specific shift that we have to go through internally to make this work. In other words, one can understand Song, say, but as soon as, like say students of mine who've been working with me for years, even decades, they understand Song, but if I grab their wrist, then there's a response, a primitive stress response that'll kick in, that'll cause a tightening up. And learning to train your Song so that is your natural response and not the trigger of the stress response, that requires a shift in the way you train in order to make that work. And no amount of just relaxing is going to get you there. You have to learn to trust that it's actually a better system for doing your internal martial arts. And then beyond that, into pretty much anything, that requires, actually feeling it in your body and noticing that, oh yeah, this has a different effect. And not only that, but you're changing your body's structure by doing that, both at the nervous system level, but also at the connective tissue level. So in the classics, they say that we train Jin, that internal power comes through the sinews and the membranes, not through the muscles. And that was in the language of the time. We're going back like 150 years, something like that. So that when they're talking about it then, that was the language of the time. Now it's more precise. We could more precisely call it the sinews and the membranes are the tendons and ligaments and the fascia. And so these are elements in your connective tissue system. The energy moves through your fascia, through your sinews, and it's then expressed. So then we are able to generate internal power by using this part of our body, which pervades every cell in our body. It's hard to localize it. We can easily say, okay, I can feel my biceps muscles. I'll just do one of these, and you can locate that because it's a very narrow, small length of tissue there, whereas the connective tissue system pervades your whole body mind. And so actually getting a handle on how to access that is a special quality in and of itself. There's one thing from Wang Zhongyu, which says that learning to experience, or through touch, we learn to experience and understand Jin, and through understanding Jin, we get divine-like clarity. And this is not the only mention of that divine-like or spiritual quality that comes from learning to really tap into your Jin So we've been doing it the past few weeks and going through some exercises which are great. And I encourage you to continue practicing those. But today we're going to go a little bit deeper into the felt sense of it. And I'm going to focus directly on how do we train our connective tissue system? How do we train those ligaments and tendons so that we go there as our first order of business, that we learn to depend on those and then gradually realize that they are much stronger than the muscular contractions that we have come to depend on. So the difficulty that we encounter with this is that when we're training, we tend to think first in terms of muscular contraction. That's kind of built into the whole Western model of developing power, strength. You know, we push-ups, we do curls and lifting, things like that. We're doing things which we're pushing away with the muscles, and that's and that is not wrong, and it's a very useful thing to do, to train that as well. But if you only train that, then you're going to miss out on this whole other thing, which is the exact opposite, and it is it will be hidden from you if you as the more you get to depend on it. So many Tai Chi teachers talk about don't lift weights. That's it's bad for you. You'll screw up your Tai Chi if you lift weights. And I would amend that and say don't lift weights wrong. And because that if you do it right, then you can actually learn to enhance your connective tissue system. So the idea here is that if we approach it correctly, we can then add progressively more resistance to the body, but while maintaining the mindset of Song as we're doing it, Song and Jin as we're doing it. And so that means you start real small with the weight, so that you learn to actually feel what that feels like and to feel into the power of it. So I'm going to ask you to pick up some object whenever we stand up here. There's actually two objects if you have them. Doesn't matter if you don't. You can get the idea from it. We've used these kind of things before, but I want to emphasize it. And one of them, you just pick up something you can hold in your hand. Here, I have a small dumbbell, a 3-pound dumbbell, and that actually may be a little heavy for some people. And you can do it with a book or a pencil. The main thing is that there is some external object there which is giving you real world feedback. You can do it with your hand. You can learn to do it just with an empty hand. And most of us have been practicing that way. But having that real world feedback, is there something saying, oh, okay, there's something there. And I have to use a little bit of effort in order to maintain this position. So the question is, what kind of effort? And so if you can imagine, let's say you've got a suitcase. You're carrying your suitcase to an airport. Okay, and you can either lift it up or you can just let it hang. Okay, and this is kind of a broad way of thinking about it, but it's like when you let let's say I've got my suitcase here in my hand here, and I'm just letting it hang. I got a shape here, but I'm just feeling it pulling down on me. And I'm just providing enough support there to keep the suitcase from falling down on the ground. Contrast this to this, where I'm actually trying to lift it up. Okay, so in that second part there, the latter part, I am using muscular contraction to lift the suitcase. Whereas the other one is, I'm just kind of going with that pull of gravity and using a different part of my body, my connective tissue system, to just let that hang. And then I can balance out my internal power to accommodate the stresses on the system, depending on how heavy the suitcase is, how long I'm carrying it for, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm trying to lift it up, using muscular contraction, I'm going to get fatigued really fast. Okay. So the idea here with a weight here, so I want you to pick up something. I don't care what it is. Just want to feel some sort of resistance there and just push up on it and very slowly and just feel what that feels like to push up on it. And what we're doing here is we're using our muscular contraction. Okay, so we're getting that. And you can, if you hang out there, just feel into that. And you can notice that, okay, this requires a certain amount of effort to continue this. Okay, then you bring that down and relax that a second. And this time, I want you to just hold it in your hand and relax your arm and just let it sit in your hand. And as you do that, you're letting go of muscular tension until you say, okay, what's the least amount of physical force I need to hold this object in my hand? As I'm doing that, I am training my fascia, my tendons, my ligaments, my sinews. I'm training them, just letting things, okay, I'm relaxing into that. So when I do that, then that allows the chi to flow more readily. And then you relax that. Okay. And then you clear the system and you allow the energy to flow through again. Or not again, but you allow it to relax and just move without any kind of strain on the system. Well, what you've created here is a body memory of what that feels like to equalize the pressure using your Song, using your Jin, your internal power. You are balancing out the internal pressures of your system so that you are able to do the work that you need to do without excessive muscular contraction. Another way of doing this would be to grab something like this. I'm using a resistance band here, but you can use a towel or a belt or whatever. And let's say you're pulling apart. Okay, you can use your muscular contraction to really stretch that, or you can just expand and just feel it. Say, okay, that's as far as I want to go with that. You feel the point there where if I go any farther, I'm going to have to kick in some muscle strain in order to make that work. If I just hold it like this and relax into that, then I am training my connective tissue, training my sinews to accommodate this level of strain. Now, particularly for people who are getting older, which includes like everybody, the body has a tendency to deteriorate, particularly the connective tissue system. You're going to lose muscle mass too, but your connective tissue system tends to dry out, get brittle, and then even if you're doing a lot of reps with weight, you can injure yourself because your connective tissue is not able to support this increase of activity. So you want to balance out resistance exercises with something which enhances your connective tissue system, that gives you that foundation that of support that enhances your joints and enables you to be able to move freely and easily, and also tends to lubricate your whole system. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play around a little bit with something with a little bit of resistance to it, and we're going to incorporate that into the some form. But then we can start to see how can be applied, and there's never a better time to start than now. It's one of those things that I've been doing this for decades, but it's something that you anytime you want to start, you're going to start feeling some benefit, because we're approaching it from a very gentle avenue, and we're not just going into the gym and land on a bunch of bench presses. We're actually taking our time and cultivating health, cultivating this sense of confidence that comes with a support system that gives us the feedback that we want. So please stand up and let's play around with this. Let's begin with our 3 pillars. Feel the 3 nails on each foot along the big toe line. Feel the heel nail, the ball of the foot, and the big toe. Feel your weight centering along the medial line of your body. So as you do that, you're releasing down. You're getting sung. Your legs are getting sung, and that they are getting into the appropriate shape to be able to support you with the minimum amount of effort. Your muscles softening as you just sink into your feet. Now shift into the heel nail and really feel the support of that. And with each breath, find yourself getting a little softer, your muscles getting softer, yourself sinking down. Even though you're not physically dropping, there's a feeling of sinking into the earth. As we do that, we open the bubbling well points in the center of the foot and allow the yin qi of the earth to rise and enter the body and renew our resources. We're tapping into the big qi, the qi of the universe. Your whole body just getting very relaxed and sinking down. Now let's counterbalance that with a very soft reaching with the crown of the head. Tuck in the chin and open the jade pillow gate. This is almost no effort. It's just a very light kind of extension upward. And simultaneously, you feel your body sinking, dropping down. And feel those poles in opposition. The crown of the head is reaching up, opening up to the yang qi of the heavens. Comes to the bai hui at the top of the head. The yin qi of the earth comes up through the feet, to the bubbling well points. And these 2 universal energies are mixing and replenishing your qi. Relax your shoulders, Reach with your elbows a little bit and round your arms. Palms facing backward, fingers are just sort of hanging. And feel into your hands and notice the sensations there as you enhance the flow of chi in your body. As you fill up, your body becomes a unified system, a whole body energetic connection. Point and reach with your index fingers and feel the energetic coherence. As you unify the energy of your body and make it coherent. Doing it also unifies the connective tissue system and enhances the tensegrity of the system, the ability of the whole system to work as one unit. It becomes one body, one chi. Your connective tissue system is unified no matter what you do, but by bringing consciousness to it, we then start to be able to use it as a vessel for transmitting internal power. Reaching with your elbows opens up your shoulder joints and allows the chi to flow more freely. Now soften the hip joints, relax your butt muscles. Just spiral down one side then the other, nice and soft, releasing any tension in your hip area. Feeling yourself sinking even more. You're releasing, dropping down. You can also adjust your pelvic bowl so that by dropping the sacrum, you kind of flatten out your pelvic bowl, get it level, which then allows you to move more freely in your hip joints. If your pelvic bowl is tilted, it makes it very difficult to release your qua. Breathe and just feel into your body mind. Feel the energy. Also notice your state of being. Notice how your mind is clear. If there's a lightness to it. Okay, so now as you shift slightly into the balls of your feet, reach with your wrists. Very slowly as your hands come up and your fingers are just hanging. Reach, extend your elbows, open up your shoulder joints as you do this. And just feel the heaviness of your arms, of your hands. Reach with the fingers. Point and reach and feel that. And here this is Sung. Different than pushing up with the arms, we're just kind of feeling them hanging there. They're occupying space, but there's as little muscular contraction as you can handle. And still maintain that shape. And then sink in your heels, reach down with your elbows, bring your fingers up, reach down with your wrists. And bring your hands down. And pause there. And here we're going into a different state of Sung, where it's a much more yin state, where we're just feeling into the posture, the sense of holding space. And now run to the balls of your feet. Reach with your wrists. Reach with your elbows, fingers just hanging, just very slowly coming up. Feel the weight of your arms. Reach with the fingers. Press down with the big toes a little bit. And just feel that energetic connection throughout your whole body mind as your connective tissue system is very efficiently distributing your chi throughout your whole body mind. And then sink in your heels, reach down with your elbows, down with your wrists. And point down and just feel into your body and feel the song, feel the difference in those two different types of song. Both are reliant on connective tissue. Both are reliant on the whole body energetic connection. This one is there's a little bit less stress on the system. So we're oscillating here between stressing the system and letting it go. Being able to release and just feel into that state of being where the energy is circulating without using any effort. Now, grab your object, whatever it may be. I've got a 3-pound dumbbell. The other hand. And so just let it hang. Yeah, it's usually the least amount so you don't drop the object on your foot. You're just sort of letting it hang. And this is the most yin shape that we get with that. Now, we're going to go the opposite direction. This time, just to serve as a contrast, we're going to lift it up. So just bring it up in front of you and you're pressing upward with it very slowly as you're coming along, and just feel into your body as you are contracting your muscles to bring up the object. And just sort of hold it there with your muscles doing the work. And just feel what that feels like as you do that. Now, slowly let that down. And just let that hang again. Feel the song. Good. I want you to grab your wrist with your other hand and lift it up so that your hand, in this case, it's my left hand, and I'm just going to let I'm going to totally relax that so much so that if I let go, boom, that's just going to come down. So I just want to bring that up so that's really nice and relaxed, and it's coming down. So bring that up again. So now I'm going to shift from that total relaxation. So now I'm going to go to song. And I'm going to do that by pointing and reaching with my index finger. And very gradually let go of the tension of my other hand and just point and reach and use my structure, use my connective tissue system and my energy to balance out internally balance out the forces. So there's definitely a downward force coming with the from the dumbbell, but I'm just saying, okay, I'm distributing all that force throughout my whole body. It's not just locking up in my shoulder, it's still feeling in my whole body. And I'm going to take my hand and lower that, because even when we're trained in connective tissue, you're going to get fatigued. There's a certain point there where it says, okay, that's enough. And then you let it go. What you've done is you've created a moment there that your body remembers and says, oh, okay, that's what that feels like. It's entirely different from the muscular contraction. It's a whole different feeling. And I would just do it again with the muscular contraction. Just bring up your arm and just using your muscles. And notice that it's not being distributed throughout your whole body. It's really localized in your shoulder and in your arm. Okay, maybe something into your back, but there's a disconnect there whenever you're not using zooms. And then you bring that down, and you let that hang, and there's this connection throughout. And I'm going to take this and apply it to a Tai Chi form. And then just, this is something I used to train back when I was competing in tournaments and stuff like that. And I do it with some resistance there. I practice my form by holding a weight in my hand. But let's say we're going to do a ward-off posture, right? And the idea is to take your object, and I'm going to turn my body this way. Take your object, bring it up here, and set it into position there, where you have your arm curved in front of your chest, like that. And here you point and reach, and then feel that connection goes through your whole body, down your legs, into your feet. Everything, your whole system is linked up whenever you do this. And what you're doing is you're exploring, how do I hold my arm so that I am distributing the energy throughout the whole system using a minimum amount of effort. And I bring that down, because if I'm using excess force, let's say the object you've got is too heavy for this exercise, you want to get something smaller, because what might happen, let's say if this is heavier than what I've got here, and I'm kind of going like this to kind of get my ward off, I'm not getting what I'm looking for in this. I need to be able to relax into it. So as I said before, get a book, get a pencil, get whatever, just something that is light enough that it's not going to cause you to have to work too hard to get to make it happen, but it's also heavy enough that it's going to get your attention. So let's do a ward off here. We're going to start with the weight in your back foot, sink into your front heel, set your knee. Now reach out with your elbow and just feel into that. Your arm is down. Okay, you're relaxing here, and point and reach with your index finger, just so you can get that energetic connection there, that tensegrity. And then as you're coming up, you reach with the wrist and open, turn the body, and your arm curves in front of your chest, and just feel into that. And then relax and let that go. So we're getting this training. If I, and this also will alert you to where you are doing it wrong. So one of the common things I notice people, when they do like a ward off posture, they'll go like this and they'll be coming from the shoulder. And if you have a weight in there, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel that it's coming because you have to use a lot of muscular contraction to make that happen. Whereas if I'm coming like this and I set my elbow first, then I can then just rotate my forearm, and here I am. And that strain is not on my shoulder at that point. So having a weight there gives you an opportunity to say, oh, that's a lot of work there. If I'm doing it if I'm trying to do it this way, that's a lot of work. How can I make that easier? So here I just, relax everything, reach with the elbow first. So I was setting up my elbow chin, saying that, and I rotate my forearm. And to let my arm get nice and relaxed. Feel the song as I'm doing that. And then I point, rotate the forearm, and bingo. I have my ward off shape has the internal power that I am looking for. You can do it with your other arm. We get here we are, sinking into your back leg, now sinking your front heel. Reach with your elbow, set your knee, reach with your elbow, feel the ball of your foot, and just let your arm hang there. Feel the relaxed connective tissue system. And then as you turn your body, you rotate your forearm, reach with your wrist, and bingo, you've got yourself a ward off posture. I'd like you to try it just using your muscles to get there. So you're just kind of using muscular contraction to get to that same place, and feel what that does to the tension in your shoulder as you do that. And I don't like to stay there very long, so let's get that down. But we're going to do it again. So you sink in your back leg, front heel nail, feel the ball of your foot. Reach out with your elbows. Relax your arms. Feel the sung. Feel just kind of pulling down. And then you're going to rotate your forearms and ward off. And just pause there a moment, just feel into that. And if you find a strain, just kind of reach with your elbows, open up your shoulder joints, point and reach with your fingers, and feel the internal power increasing. But don't do it too much. Just kind of let that go. Each time you go there, you are creating a positive imprint in your body mind so that you can learn to trust this. And now we're going to do what we did last week with the 4 basic chins, but I'm going to park this for a moment and just feel how that's affected the way we go through the Pong Lu Chi En sequence. And so we're going to start with a ward-off posture. And here you want to nice and easy, and then you're going to sink into your right heel and open up. feel the weight of your arms as you do this. So we're feeling that sung. Now feel the heel of the left foot, your back foot. In my case, I'm going to say my left foot because it's my back foot. And then I'm going to feel the weight of my arms as I turn. I'm reaching out, pointing and reaching with my fingers, my index fingers, as I do that. And I'm just going to feel the weight of my arms here, getting very sung, opening the shoulder joints, reaching with the elbows. And then sink into the left heel and reach up with the wrist. And you let your fingers dangle, nice and soft. Feel the sung of that position. And feel the right heel nail spiral down to the left, and then turn and go to a press posture. Reach with your elbows. You want to feel the chin there. So your right hand is kind of pressing in, your left hand is pressing out, but more a suggestion of it rather than anything forceful. You're opening your shoulder joints, reaching with your elbows, reaching with your wrist, feeling that expansion there, feeling the weight, the heaviness of your arms. Now sink into your left heel and feel your arms coming up, reaching up with the wrist. Feel the heaviness of that. Engage your connective tissue system, your sinews, as you do this. We're repairing our sinews as we do this. We're repairing our connective tissue system by bringing conscious awareness and bringing chi to these movements. And then we sink into the heel, drop down with the elbows, fingers come up, heel. Feel those arms, the heaviness of the arms as there's a pressing down, like you've got that beach ball, you're pressing down into the water. Sink into your front heel, ball of the foot, big toe, and push. Feel there's a big wave coming in here, like coming like this, and feel that wave pressing out and expressing itself. Now sink into your left heel, your back heel, and turn. Feel the ball of the foot, big toe, and feel the density there. Feel the sung. Reach with your elbows. Notice that my arms aren't collapsed. I'm not like this, right? I'm not like that. There's a shape there. And that shape is governed by my sinews. I point and reach. I open my shoulder joints, reach with my elbows, and then sink into the left heel, reach up with the wrists. We're going to go into a ward-off posture here. Sink into the right heel, and then turn. Feel the weight of your arms. Feel that the sung, the expansion, and then turn. Feel the weight of your arms. Sink into the front heel. Now sink into your back heel. Feel the arms, and turn. Reach, open your shoulder joints. There's an expansiveness to this. Even though the energy is coming down and in, the shape is expanded. Take your left heel, reach up with the wrists. Open your shoulder joints, reach with your elbows, feel. Sink in your right heel. Sink and press. Taking your left heel. The wave is coming, your arms are rising on the wave. Now you're pressing down on that, coming down, 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 and then forward and out. Push. Taking your left heel. Open. Pivot on your right. Feel that expansiveness. Feel your arms opening. Reach. Open your shoulders. Feel that yang expansion. And hands come down. Pause and feel into your structure. Feel the connection throughout your whole body mind. Feel your internal power gathering. It's that feeling that enables us to understand Jin, giving us that divine-like clarity. Is our feeling, our real sense of experiencing that energy as it exists in our bodies. Step in, your left foot. Take a deep breath from the ball of your feet, expansive. And then sink into your heels and throw away the chi. Please have a seat. Well, any thoughts, questions, comments? Richard.
When we had the weight in our hand, and I was thinking about the suitcase example you were talking about, but when we had the weight in our hand and let it rest entirely down by our side, we're holding the weight. There's no muscular tension anywhere except in the fingers wrapped around whatever you're holding. So it seems to me that if only I could feel that same way as I brought the weight up, as I felt when it was hanging by my side. Am I on to anything?
It's not going to be exactly the same, but
No.
You are onto the right. That is the idea. That is exactly the idea. So you're not pushing away. You're just you're just expanding into the shape. So that's exactly right. So we're looking like that. So if you can just, let's say I've got a cup of tea here, right?
Right.
I'm not pushing it up. I'm just letting it hang, right? And that's the feeling. So we train by having a cup of tea, doing our ward off with a tea, and then then we add some more tea to it, and then we do it with a a jug of water, whatever. We can gradually increase the ability of the connective tissue to handle the load.
So we're trying always to let any weight or force hang from our connective tissue.
That is how we do this exercise. Yes. And I'm not going to say that that's what you always do all the time. I'm saying that's how you get sewn. That's so.
Okay.
Are there times when it's good to do push-ups and bench presses? Sure, you can do that. But this is the way to train it for Tai Chi. Scott?
So just just what you had us doing in the beginning really informed the three pillars. It was probably the best three pillars I've ever done. Just from doing that little bit of exercise in the beginning.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And you kept saying, feel the weight of your arms. By that point, I really couldn't feel the weight of my arms because I was full the whole time, pretty much. It was very cool. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Lynn.
Well, the extra long three pillars, I got so relaxed. I was too relaxed, right? I got relaxed rather than sung. It felt great, you know. Could have taken a nap right there. um, but then I had to like recapture, right? I had to shift out of relaxed into sung, which was really great because I was able to using the weights and feeling that, and then just, even with the weight, but especially when we got rid of the weight, there was no weight in my hand. It was just floating, but it was leading, it wasn't working. It wasn't trying. It was just being sung, and holding the shape and expanding out, it felt fantastic. And interestingly, my right hand that was doing all of the thing was really hot, and my left hand was not as hot, right? So obviously, it should be both, I'm sure, but I need to reverse it.
Yeah.
And
The right hand is the one you just injured, right? It's the one that you're rehabbing.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that it is responding to that by getting hot means it's like there's a whole lot of chi is circulating there,
Yeah.
and doing its job of the healing job.
Yeah.
Terrific. Terrific. Valerie.
Well, I have to admit, I was a little bit hesitant about doing this because I have the injury on my right shoulder. So I started off using, my left arm, like doing the ward off. I was following your example. You had left arm. So I was, okay, I'll do the left arm. And then, of course, you said, let's switch to the other side. And I was very surprised at how informed my right side became because of what I just did with my left side. I mean, there was a point of where it got like I had to have just the whole arm down lower, but I think that was a good thing that, I was listening to okay, this is a little bit too much of a strain, just go down. It did it by itself. It just went down. It got to a comfortable place where it felt sung and it wasn't stressed. So it was very cool. Yeah, and I got at one point, I mean, it's warm here, but we have the AC on, so it's comfortable in the house. But there was at one point, it's like, okay, I think I'm going to break out in a sweat. Just because there was so much going on internally, my muscles weren't stressed. And when we sat down, at first I didn't think I was going to say anything because I was so sung and just didn't need to.
For sharing. I'm glad you did say stuff. Much appreciated. Cool. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you all so much. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Maria.
Maria.
Hello. Hello. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank all the production staff.
Bye-bye.